I just have to get this off my chest. This is one of the most amazing cases I've ever read about an old lady going on a murder spree. It's absolutely amazing. Her name is Tamara Samsonova, and she's a Russian woman from St. Petersburg accused of being a serial killer. She has been arrested on suspicion of murdering a 79-year-old woman and dismembering her body. She's being investigated in connection to a total of 14 murders. According to media reports, police found a diary which contained details of some of the murders. One entry read, "I killed my tenant, Volodya, cut him into pieces in the bathroom with a knife and put the pieces of his body in plastic bags and threw them away in the different parts of the district." Her husband also disappeared in 2005 and she is now a suspect in the case. Samsonova is possibly a sufferer of schizophrenia and was admitted to psychiatric hospital 3 fucking times. This woman has had a hard life, and because of life being so tough for her, she murdered a bunch of people, cut them up, boiled their heads in saucepans. We'll get into that in a bit. Yes, this should be a fun case. Now, this Russian woman is a serial killer, and as you can see in the pictures that are going to be in the background, she kind of looks creepy as well. And then realizing that she cut up a bunch of people in her home, then cooked their body parts and even ate her victims, well, that gives you an idea of a cannibal crazy motherfucker. She is also called the serial killing Granny Ripper in Russia. Now, today I wanted to share with you some of the details concerning this fucked up little case. The Granny Ripper confessed to 11 murders in a gruesome diary and may have eaten her victims. That is what police reported in Russia. Tamara Samsonova is 68 and is thought to have beheaded and dismembered her victims in a reign of terror that lasted 2 decades. The pensioner dubbed the Granny Ripper and entered details of her secret life in diaries, which she kept in Russian, English and German, alongside black magic and astrological books. She was arrested last week after being filmed by CCTV cameras near her home in St. Petersburg, removing the body of her latest victim in black plastic bag. Now detectives suspect that the former hotel worker also ate some body parts she removed from the people she killed, chopping off their heads, arms and legs. Are you hungry yet? I sure am. Get the fuck out of my head, you stupid motherfucker. In particular, Samsonova had a penchant for gouging out and eating lungs, it is claimed. Asked if she was a cannibal, a police source said, "It is not excluded." "It's kinda hot," he also said. Sources in Russia's powerful investigative committee, equivalent of the FBI, indicated internal organs, in particular lungs, were removed from the bodies of victims. It also suggested the self-confessed killer gave her final victim, Valentina Ulanova, 79, an overdose of sleeping pills before dismembering her body with a hacksaw while she was still alive. She was detained after the headless body of Ulanova, for whom she was a carer, was found near a pond in the Mitrova street in St. Petersburg. Samsonova killed her after a quarrel over unwashed cups, she told police investigating the murder. Senior investigators in St. Petersburg, Mikhail Timoshodev, said Tamara says that at first she made her friend Ulanova sleep and then cut her into pieces. Police are now comparing her elaborate diary entries with known cases of unsolved murder cases where victims were dismembered and body parts packed in bags strewn around the city. A headless, armless and legless man's body was found in the same street 12 years ago, and evidence found in her flat, including a business card for the victim, links her to the crime. Samsonova is also suspected of murdering her husband, who she reported missing in 2005. He was never found dead or alive. The Granny Ripper's diary excerpts include a chilling confession of murdering one of her former lodgers. "I killed my tenant, cut him into pieces in the bathroom with a knife, put the pieces of his body in plastic bags and threw them away in the different parts of the district." Detectives in Russia are refusing to release details of her diary until the multiple murder investigation is completed. Between accounts of her killings are mundane details of her everyday existence. Entries include such phrases penned online yellowing unruled paper as "slept badly," "drank coffee," "take medicines," or "I do not eat." It was as if she was afraid to miss something important in her life, said a source who read the disturbing diary. Amazingly, given the gravity of the charges against her in her latest court appearance, Samsonova seemed more concerned that journalists were there to report her case, and that her neighbors in St. Petersburg were going to find out what she is accused of. After being remanded in custody, she told journalists, "I knew you would come. It's such a disgrace for me, all the city will know." Later she blew a kiss to reporters. When Judge Roman Chepotaryov asked her to address the court, she replied, "It's stuffy here. Can I go out?" She then added, "I was getting ready to this court action for dozens of years. It was all done deliberately. There's no way to live. With this last murder, I closed the chapter." The judge said, "I'm asked to arrest you. What do you think?" She replied, "You decide, Your Honor. After all, I am guilty and I deserve punishment." When he announced she would be held in custody, she smiled and clapped her hands. A police source said that despite her admission to murdering her latest victim, detectives can't force her to say where the missing head is hidden. When Samsonova was questioned by the police last week, she admitted to committing the crimes but without going into detail, say reports. And in her flat, police found a saw, a knife, and blood spots in the bathroom. A source from the investigation said, "She's either much more stupid or much smarter than she seems." You're visiting your grandmother one day, and you're like, "What is that smell?" When you go into the bathroom, and you look around, you see nothing weird. There's nothing out of the ordinary. So then you go back into the living room, and then but before you, just as you enter it, you see your grandmother like pushing away a bag underneath the kitchen counter, and you're like, "Oh, should I help with that?" And she says, "No, honey, it's fine." And then, as she turns around, the bag falls over. And as it falls over, you see this arm sticking out of the bag. Well, that's a cue for you to run and get the fuck out of that place. If you've ever come anywhere near this woman or any such crazy grandmother out there, you better believe it, you have to run for your life. I know some old ladies that are living down the street over here, and I feel fucking terrified now. I used to greet them, but now I'll look at them with a different sort of stare in my eyes. It's the stare of fears, like, does this woman have dead bodies in her house? In Russia, when you kill a lot of people, well, most men get the death penalty, so I guess this woman is either gonna be behind bars for the rest of her life, or she's gonna get the death sentence sooner or later. As always, dear viewer, have sweet dreams.